Yes. Dual monsters back from the shadows. Hey guys, it's me, the Dark Shadow Maverick. And I'm here with Season 1, Episode 3 of Dual Monsters Back from the Shadows. Yeah, how I said I was gonna do kind of like a Fight Club thing where I invited everybody. Well, it's kind of true, but kind of not true at the same time, seeing as, Pharaoh, like Transcendent God card, kind of went into this way too fast. So I decided to change things up a little bit. To like a dormitory system thing like My Hero Academia. They're like 8 people per dorm system, like a room. So 8 people in a room. So like dorm teams. So yes. Dual Monsters Back from the Shadows. Season 1, Episode 3. Episode 3 starting now. Yo, Baccarat. Well, I didn't need either me or your alarm clock to wake you up this time. Are you kidding? You're sitting on top of me. Oh yeah, that's right. I have a tendency to do that. Sorry, bud. Is that better? Bakura says, well, no longer on top of Naruto. And basically, he says it while at the same time the Millennium Ring shines a little. And also a little bit in the morning sun, but just a little bit on its own as well. Showing the communication in between Naruto and Bakura. Naruto basically just being like, dude, you know it's okay. No hard feelings, man. But, shoulder check. And then he just realizes, fuck, forward momentum? Wow. He just lands on somebody. And it's just like, oh yeah, that's right, the dormitory systems. Just right before we went to bed, we had to be informed of that. Wait, we need a total of 8 people. So who are the other people put with us? And who did I land on? And Bakura is just cracking up. Oh my god, I love it whenever me and Karama can share laughter. And Izuku's just like, alright, so you're on top of me. And Naruto's just like, fuck. Sorry, Izuku. He gets off of him right away. And Izuku just like, Jesus. Naruto. I can see since the Millennium Ring is still in one piece, Bakura's probably fine. And whatever about that freaking, you said it's something about a fur ball inside your stomach? Weird. Though, that Morgana girl, apparently, I checked a dual scanner and, yep, she's added to our dorm team. Or, as it said now, dual team. Yeah, basically dual team. Basically, the rule kind of is that nobody that's on the same team can duel each other for like several rounds. But like once you kind of break it down enough to where there's nobody else, you kind of have to have them duel each other. So basically, for a couple rounds, these people are going to have to duel each other. They aren't going to have to. Because basically it's like immunity from that. Since they're part of the same duel team. Of 8 duelists. Yes, count them 8. Since I love that number so much. And basically, Naruto and Izuku can understand Morgana. Because, they met the girl last night. Literally, they just went into that dorm room, dropped her there, and they fell asleep too. Because they were exhausted. And, just now hearing about the whole dorm thing, dorm teams. Well, that is until you have to fight these people. Like, you have to duel these people. Because there's not many people left. And, contestants can't, request dueling someone because that's against the rules of the tournament, apparently. The, only duels that can be had are duels that are created through the bracket of the tournament. The tournament bracket. And currently now we are still going through the qualifiers. Yes, now everybody's, in. And if somebody who I didn't mention before pops in, that's only because they came. I just didn't mention them. Yeah, I wanted to do a Fight Club-like thing, but now I'm seeing the error in my ways. So, I am basically trying to fix this, big boo-boo, and not Yogi and Yogi and boo-boo, not that. It's much worse than that. Ooh, boy. So basically, whenever Naruto and Izuku are just looking around to see who the other occupants are, because the other occupants are basically going to be their, dueling teammates for the rest of this tournament. So they're basically looking to see who they're going to have to put up with for the rest of the tournament. But it seems like everyone got up at mostly around the same time. Because Morgana basically just shows up and it's just like... tea for your troubles? And basically just has some tea. And, since neither of them drink coffee, they accept the tea, while also saying thanks. And Morgana being like, oh, think nothing of it, it's more of my mother side in me. My father would never, ever do that for anyone. Let alone people that could be possible opponents in the future. Well, technically will be opponents in the future, just in the far away future. Considering, we are a team for now. And this is apparently our dorm, room 120. It's not 123, no. Basically, just hear your voice. 128. Morgana, how is it that hard to remember? And then basically you just see the person. There's two pillows. They basically put the other pillow on top of their head, trying to sleep. And Morgana's basically like, tea? And basically the person was like, after the several revelations I had yesterday, I don't feel like tea. Unless you really think that this is going to help. I just figured out that I have two brothers. One who basically went off to basically be less Giovanni like Giovanni. And the other one could be dead for all I know, because I don't know. And that pisses me off. And now my Pokemon are what they say the deck was? Pocket Monster deck? Yeah, that's right, I remember now. Everything's foggy from last night. And Morgana's just like, sits down the tea near this person, and they're like, understandable, Ash, very understandable. And basically this person is just like, so you're not mad that I freaked out at you, Morgana? And Morgana's just like, who has time for being mad in times like this? Let's save all that energy of your anger for your opponent, not your allies, or at least temporary allies. You know the old saying, keeps your friends close and your enemies closer. And Ash is just like, I don't know how that's exactly supposed to help me, but okay. And then we just see this person be like, you were working on something. I think you're grumpy, not just because of what happened, but because you were working on something, and whenever you finished it, what exactly did you figure out? Well, and then basically Naruto and Izuku were like, what the fuck? Basically Baku was like, oh, hey Yugi. And basically, we can see that what Ash was working on, yes, the Pokemon Ash, not like Ash's Pokemon, like from Pokemon. What he was working on was something that Yugimoto wore around his neck. And that would transform him into Yami-Yugi every time he would, like, duel somebody. basically, yeah. Ash apparently has a Yugi's Millennium item, the Millennium Puzzle, and he just now last night figured it out, therefore giving him the spirit of Yugimoto. Because he's also long dead. And so, he along with the Pharaoh are inside of the puzzle. It just seems that the Pharaoh is a lot harder to reach than Yugi. But Yugi basically saying, me and the Pharaoh do agree on this one thing. As long as you agree on the heart of the cards, nothing can stop you. And basically this person would be like, this person basically pacing in the room, basically like, You, the one with the puzzle, and the one with the ring. Those are Millennium items. As you can see here, basically the dude bends down and you can see you can barely see them, but you can see them. Barely, but you can see them. Horns coming out of his head. But they're barely noticeable. As you can see, I'm not human. My kind, are known by two different names. The most commonly known one is Demon. Though, we are most prevalently known as Momoto. As the Momoto tournament of 100 Momoto children sent to the world of humans as their partners. And the last Momoto human duel standing, that Momoto would become a Moto King. I won that tournament. However, I had to depart from my partner Kyo. Though I swore one day I would return back to this realm. The one I left in my place as ruler. My brother, Zeno. Though by then, he had turned over a new leaf. I know this to be true, as you aren't the only ones to have Millennium items. And Ash just casually reveals that the red spell book, he has it, but in the spell book, he opens up the spell book and just to a random page, and in that freaking part of the spell book are the Millennium Scales. I'm pretty sure they tell if you're lying or something is not true about you. They can tell the truth or about something or someone. Basically, now everybody knows this guy is not only a king, but he has the Millennium Scales. So 3 of these people have Millennium items. I do not know the name of the guy who has the Millennium Scales, but as soon as I figure out this bastard's name, I will get to you on that, beautiful viewers. basically, how does Ash still have his book, even though he's already become king? Apparently. Apparently, how can he, go from the Makai realm to freaking, the Mamoto / Makai realm? To, well, the human realm. How can he just freely do this? Well, apparently, it is because that he is in possession of one of the old gods. And by old gods, I mean the ones that aren't transcendent. And basically, he gives him a clue onto which one it is. Basically, he says one name and one name alone, and everybody knows automatically. He says, Merrick. And everybody's like, fuck. And then this dude goes on to say, well, it would make sense considering that my magic, well, is lightning magic. So, I mean, it would make sense for me to have this freaking one. Everybody's just like, does he not just know that he just freely admitted that he has the Winged Dragon of Ra in his deck? And basically, he's just like, correction, a part of my deck. And besides, I may not even use Ra. I may or may not. I don't believe it concerns any of you, because, well, I won't be fighting any of you in the near future. Possibly later on future, but not this close. So I don't think you need to be worried. Little do people know that Ash actually didn't say something about his deck. That since he's the reincarnation of Ashmun, basically since he is the descendant of Ashmun, he basically has one of the old gods as well. The other dragon. Slifer. The Sky Dragon. And there's just persons sitting off in the corner, basically making minimal human reaction, but enjoying the tea nonetheless. And that, well, he enjoyed his tea. He's already done by now. This dude is just, observing. And from what he's already observed. But then this guy gets up in his face and is like, how the hell are we supposed to win if we have, this complete social introvert amongst our ranks? Dude doesn't even look like he could freaking bench press a twig, let alone duel an actual duel. and it is made apparent that the person yelling at him, and then basically they get their arm grabbed, and they look at the person who grabbed their arm, and they see that they have no fear in their eyes. And then the person who was just sitting down a few seconds ago, they see is standing up now, and basically it's just like, Roberta, it is not needed. After all, I've already analyzed things, and, well, Ryuga, your abrasiveness is also not needed. Unless it is that you wish to power up your El Drago deck against mine. My mystery deck. Yes, his deck is literally known as the mystery deck. Since, the identity of L for the longest fucking time was a mystery to freaking Light/Kira. And basically Roberta, as in, that Roberta. Apparently she got some, surgery done, and, well, all the injuries that happened to her, plus the whole thing that made her not be able to walk, that's fixed now. Basically, she has herself what she calls the loveliest deck. But she doesn't even have her deck out. She just grabbed Ryuga's arm. Yes, Ryuga, L, and Roberta are part of this as well. Basically, all L was doing was analyzing Ryuga, and whenever Roberta came around, then he started analyzing her. Because that's what he's good at doing. But not very well good at doing whenever, freaking Light decides to pull some 5D chess bullshit. Like what he did, last moment. And just L realizing basically all the time that this dude just 5D chessed him. This dude just 5D chessed him. And it's all because of that Lynn D. Taylor incident, and you deciding to go on TV and basically slander this man Light all the way to Cancun. All because you wanted to basically get revenge. Now, now you have been 5D chessed all the way to freaking Narnia. Are you happy with yourself? I gotta ask, are you happy with yourself? Though, basically, this is like resetting the timeline of the basically Death Note anime. So basically, a whole entire Kira case, like, within the tournament. Because yes, Kira will be in this. Just he's a part of a different dorm team. So he actually is, like, sort of free game. Because, he is a part of the bracket that isn't, one of the dorm mates of room 128. Which is the dorm room for these 8, people. Basically, Roberta and Morgana deciding, well, if they're gonna do this, they're gonna need to do it smart. So, a plan of action might be nice. And so, seeing as they're the people with dual spirits currently, and well, they don't know if Naruto has a dual spirit because they don't know if Zatch has a dual spirit because he isn't very, vocal about anything to do with the Millennium Scales. Even if Bakura or Yugi could tell them about that. Oh, and reminder, I'm using 8,000 life points instead of 4,000 life points. Because I just like 8,000 more. Basically, everyone decides they need a plan of action. And the first little step in their plan of action basically, they decide that their first little step in their plan is to have everyone basically know what everyone else's ace, like current ace, is. Because, you can basically evolve your deck if you want to, like later down the line. That's not forbidden in the tournament. You can do this. So, well, basically everybody updates themselves and everybody else on, well, their current aces. Or at least for Izuku, his ground level ace, because Crystal Dragon can basically be roided up to absurd levels of power, as we saw in part 2. So yeah, basically, and also another thing that they say is basically that a person's ace cannot be one of the god cards. That it's not like the god cards are freaking forbidden, because I think that's a stupid rule. That's a very stupid rule. that, these strong cards should be, forbidden from being used. And also Pot of Greed, forbidden from being used. I mean, you're just drawing 2 fucking cards. That's all it tells you to do. To just draw 2 cards. I mean, I don't see what's wrong with that. So, that's also something that's not forbidden in the tournament. God cards and Pot of Greed are both not forbidden. I just gotta figure out who has Obelisk the fucking Tormentor. And whenever Obelisk is mentioned, L sneezes, and everybody looks at him like, dude. And L is just like, hold on. Just gets a freaking wipe. And just like, okay, now I'm good. You mean this? And just like, everybody's like, what the fuck? Yeah, they just realize L has Obelisk the Tormentor. Their dorm team has all of the god cards. Their dorm team is OP as fuck. But they remember, basically, they can't check these as, their aces. They can't check, that any of the god cards are their aces. Only the ones that they know to be their aces, as their aces, will already know as aces to be their aces. Not the god cards that can't just switcheroo and say, oh, this god card is my ace. No, you can't do that. That is the one thing that is forbidden. One rule that I'm gonna say that the tournament does say is that, can't do that. Because, doing that is the one thing that I believe would be unfair. So yeah, just, first one to hop to the freaking batter, swing, batter. Is good old Naruto with his deck. Basically, you also have to name your deck what it is. Basically, he has a Vast Magicka deck, and his ace is Vast Magician. Izuku says he has a Champion Dragon deck, and his ace is Champion Dragon Crystal Dragon. And basically, we go to Morgana, her ace being her giant vampiric skeletal warrior. Yes, giant vampiric skeletal warrior. And basically, whenever Naruto and Izuku see giant vampiric skeletal warriors attack and defense, basically, somebody's gotta tug at his collar. Naruto with his Vast Magician is like, oh, that's dangerously close to Vast Magician. That's like fuck level of dangerously close. Like, they could be considered fucking rivals, that's how close. In like terms of attack and, defense. And like even level. Actually. Even fucking level. And then we go over to Ash. He's basically like... yeah. Basically, Morgana saying that, she had a vampiric warrior deck, and that her mace was a giant vampiric skeletal warrior. And that made a certain, user of Vast Magician nervous. Very nervous. Because damn is that close. But not a user of Crystal Dragon, because Crystal Dragon is insane. Well, to be true, the full name is Champion Dragon Crystal Dragon. So Izuku's not really feeling as much of the heat as Naruto is from hearing that. Because basically, all three of these aces so far have been level 6. However, Giant Vampiric Skeletal Warrior was closer to the attack and defense of Naruto's ace than Izuku's ace. That's why Naruto was sweating more in his collar than Izuku. So, well, who's next? I feel like Goldberg. Like, who's next? Well, we have Ash. And Ash basically says, I have a pocket monster deck. And my ace is my pocket monster Pikachu. And basically, for most of this, like the majority of this, people's aces have been level 6. But apparently, Pocket Monster Pikachu is actually level 5. And while still a very formidable friggin' ace up your sleeve, I mean, not as formidable as the last 3. And basically, now we go to Zatch. And basically, oh, my ace? Well, first of all, my deck It's Mamoto King deck. Basically, the Mamoto Queen. The Mamoto King deck. Actually, seeing as the other name for the Mamoto land is Makai, basically, this deck in particular, the Makai King deck. Yes, that's the name of his deck, the Makai King deck. Seeing as the other name for basically the Mamoto world is the Makai world. And his ace, my ace, well, is Makai King Bowserkerga. Yeah, Zatch's strongest spell, Bowserkerga, is a monster. And basically, you could say that Ash and Zatch have, their aces that are around the same power and defense, and even level as each other. And I didn't say the same, I said around the same. And now we go to L. Remember, his deck is the mystery deck. And L would just be like, well, not like it's important right now, but I guess if it's a part of the plan. You guys know my deck. Mystery deck. So my ace, Mystery 3D chess. Yes, Mystery 3D Chesser. Not just Mystery 3D Chesser, but Mystery 3D Chesser Master, actually. The name of the card is Mystery 3D Chesser Master. Yes, Mystery 3D Chesser Master. And this shit is basically seem to just be a little bit underneath what Naruto and Izuku have at their start. Just a little bit underneath. So a little bit underwhelming. But that's whenever you see L get the little tiniest bit of a smirk. It seems they don't really seem to be paying, basically, attention to what is said in the little box, what type of monster it is. Besides, part of the mystery deck. Basically, like an effect monster, a whatever monster, a toon monster, a tuner monster, basically in a little box. below the image. Basically, they don't seem to be paying very close attention to that, or else they would be rethinking their current thoughts, on his mystery 3D Chesser Master. Because at first it seems to be rather underwhelming, like to basically what they have, but only if they knew. Only if they knew. Because then basically Ryuga would, step up and say, before he even says basically what type of deck he has, he's like, listen, there's gotta be something I gotta confess. Before I was even able to get to you guys, I was attacked by somebody. They summoned some strange monster. It looked like they were possessed. And so they're just thinking, Array, dude just freaking summoned his, transcendent god form monster and, attacked Ryuga. Apparently, Ryuga's better at escaping without needing people's help, because he was able to get out of there by the skin of his teeth. However, he collapsed shortly after. And, Naruto and Izuku were already asleep. And Morgana was passed out even before them. So basically, the next person to get to the dorm would have to treat Ryuga for all the shit that he went through. And then basically he goes on to explain his deck. Basically, it is an El Drago deck. But not just El Drago, Forbidden El Drago. And his ace in his, Forbidden El Drago deck is Lightning El Drago. It's the OG form of the El Drago Beyblade. And then it goes over to Roberta, and basically, she's like, yes, it was very difficult to figure out where the damage starts and the damage ends with whatever happened to you. I sure hope this barrae never attacks anyone else. Actually, I think I remember barrae? Yes, barrae. But the same case all the same. Anyways, my deck. Lovelace deck. And my ace? Well, My ace being Lovelace, Insanity No Lovelace family. And basically, whenever people see Insanity No Lovelace family, how much attack and defense it has and what level it is, they are very underwhelmed. But yet they seem to, everyone except for frickin' Al, and well, Zach, since he's a frickin' king, seem to not see the fact of what type of monster it is. Lovelace, Insanity No Lovelace family. And basically, all the chill time after everyone's all serious. We need to form a plan, and the first step of our plan is basically now over. Since everybody knows everybody has aces now. And basically, everybody, goes their separate ways in their own way. Elle just going out and just being like, don't try to hide, you're not very good at it. For someone who supposed to be a descendant of the Pharaoh of Darkness, you're not very all that powerful. How is about a proposal? Unsanctioned duel. Nothing given up, really. Just to see who is the greater out of the two of us. And no Shadow Realm antics either. I said nothing given up. Not even life or death. And so basically barrae, by now is just getting even closer to true possession by Yuruu, the Pharaoh of the Darkness. Just comes out and just like, nah, you found me. Well then. That girl Morgana should have kept her mouth shut. Now, I have good knowledge on a couple things. She won't be able to surprise me with anything she has now. Even that spell card of hers. I've been working on a way to counteract it. But you're an unknown. Allow me to remedy that for good. And Elle's just like, and apparently someone here is not very good at listening. unsanctioned, which means no price to be paid, except for a winner and a loser. At the end, this will just show who is the superior duelist. For now. And barrae is just like, fine then. I'll give this kid back his body. But just for now. What is this? And Elle will just be like, well, barrae, it seems Oro has just forced you and me into a little bit of a confrontation. He was planning on taking me out prematurely, though I saw that from a mile away. Well, several miles away, actually. 100% chance that you and Oro are going to be mostly the same if he manages to defeat me, or you, as his scapegoat, manage to defeat me. I can sense that he has you still in the possession of his card. In fact, he's given you over his deck, not your own. He wants you to use his deck to defeat me. He believes that with the dark power of his deck, he can still sway you over to do his bidding. I heard that you and Morgana were friends. Then that means you cannot let him dissuade you over to the darkness. Morgana would not want that for you. And we are friends with her. I am Elle. And, well, please, forgive me for what I am about to have to do. And barrae is just like, I can feel it. It's like I don't have a body of my own. The darkness in this deck, especially one in particular card, a transcendent god card, I can feel it within the deck. It won't let me have a will of my own. Fine then. If I'm to be someone's puppet, then I'll do it in my own way. And Elle will just have a smile at that. Take that, Oro. Even if he's going to be our puppet, he'll do it in the way that he sees fit. They're basically just giving him the double middle finger. Like one from Elle, one from barrae. Right before they're like, it's time to duel. Let's duel. And so basically, since Elle can see the darkness from within barrae and knows that he's about to go full out, no. So basically, and Elle is always the ever observant, he's always observing everybody else, so obviously he wouldn't go first. He wouldn't go first. He would allow barrae to have the first turn. Even though this is very dangerous. A very dangerous move. Well then. Well, I guess. Then. I summon Cornell of the Space Pirate Clan in attack mode. Basically, L sees that Cornell of the Space Pirate Clan has 850 attack and 820 defense. And basically, barrae just ends his turn. And Oro is just yelling in his ear, "What the fuck are you doing?" And basically, Ella's just like, how about a mere face down? And I end my turn. And basically, actually, he puts 2 face downs and then ends his turns. Well, ends his turn. And basically, the next time, he's like, "Cornell of the Space Pirate Clan, attack! His face down." Well, one of them. That one in the middle. And basically, L's like, "Yes, this is the exact one I wanted you to attack." He's like, "Perfect. All according to plan. 100%, I've got this in the bag." How interesting. Oro would let this go that easily. This stool go that easily. And, well, barrae doesn't know what L's talking about until, basically, the monster that they are about to attack is revealed to be Mystery 1D Chesser Master. Yes, Mystery 1D Chesser Master. Not 3D Chesser. 1D Chesser. And basically, by activating Mystery 1D Chesser Master's effect, the attack of your monster is now officially 0, so nothing happens to my 1D Chesser Master. Basically just, disarming the dude. And so, then he decides to basically reveal his other card. A monster card called the Freight Dragon. And basically, one of the effects of the Freight Dragon is that automatically, the moment it is basically raised face up, or just summoned in general, it will basically, be like Pot of Greed minus 1 card. So basically only 1 card. But it is just the right card that L needs. And he puts it down. polymerization. Polymerizing basically 1D Chesser Master. Yes, 1D Chesser Master. And the Freight Dragon, those two together, creating the 1D Chesser Perfectionist. And basically, one of 1D Chesser Perfectionist's freaking effects is that it gets to automatically attack the moment it is summoned. And seeing as barrae has nothing, he just gets for bang. But then basically he just drops down a spell, Monster Reborn, basically bringing back his, well, of certain clan, I believe. Basically his previous monster. And then drops down 4 other cards. One of them being Polymerization, and the 2. Basically, one of them being Polymerization, 2 others being, well, a same Space Pirate Clan type monster, only it's Kajeki and Tuzumo. And then another thing, but it's a trap card and it's called User World. And basically, what User World does is it basically, well, whatever amount of attack points that whatever monster barrae wants to choose, out of L's team, he can basically, well, add their attack onto his monster. And basically polymerizationing all 3 of the different space pirates using a spell card, polymerization. And then basically, whatever it turns into, then using User World, basically giving the attack of what L has, on top of whatever the attack will be of what barrae is about to get. And that basically being Space Pirate Death Comet Dragon. Yes, Space Comet Death Dragon. Space Death Comet Dragon. And well, it's already extremely high attack, plus the attack of L's monster, because of User World. However, L one-ups this by, dropping 2 face downs, and then the monster card Eldritch Blacksmith. Yes, basically just Mystery Eldritch Blacksmith. And the effect of Mystery Eldritch Blacksmith is, well, you can destroy any trap card that is on the field. And basically, User World only works if it's on the field. Yes, that is a condition of User World. It will only work if it's on the field. So yeah, bye-bye attack points. Well, extra attack points. And then basically, I'll just telling, well, Mystery Eldritch Blacksmith to attack this Death Comet thing. However, it seems basically one of the effects of this, Death Comet thing is basically you're like rubber, like rubber, I'm like glue. What happens to me happens to you, or whatever. Basically, if anything attacks it, that thing will be destroyed. But that's actually all a part of L's plan. Because you see, if, Mystery Eldritch Blacksmith is destroyed by another monster, the effect of another monster, not just another monster, but the effect of another monster, well, it's basically Pot of Greed +1. It allows L to draw 3 cards. And basically do whatever hell he wants with them during that same turn. And basically, seeing as, 1D, chess perfectionist is still out on the field, he decides, let's add extra salt to the wound. He turns over one of the cards, because there were like 3 cards. Because he basically lays down all 3 of the cards onto the field. Turns over one of them. That one is the spell card. Box of the God tier. Basically, what Box of the God tier does is, well, diffuse any other card or cards with a card that is around at the same time of this being put on the field. This as in card of the God tier. As long as card of the God tier is on the field. And the 2 cards are brought face up that were face down before. Basically the only two left. And those being what appears as basically what puts the final nail in the coffin for Barrae. Basically, $1D Chesser, King of Checker. Yes, $1D Chesser, King of Checkers. And another monster, the hand that moves the board. Basically, these two are able to fuse with his current monster, not to turn into another monster, but to increase the attack and defense. And even add on the ability of the hand that moves the board. Because if you were to do this, and technically you can, well, technically L can now, well, he could either add the ability of the hand that moves the board, or the 1D King of Checkers. And he decides that he will add the freaking effect of the hand that moves the board, because he thinks he just wants to get Barrae out of his misery. He feels that would be much more merciful. Basically, it's just like, and well, basically I infuse those two together inside of the already existing monster, while adding the effect of the hand that moves the board. And by adding that effect to this monster, the effect is automatically in play. And the effect of the hand that moves the board basically, any monster that is not a mystery monster that is on the field will automatically be destroyed. And basically, 10 times both their attack and their defense damage will be dealt to the life points of the, opposing party. That being Barrae. Basically meaning the dude just lost. Because that's 10 times. Yeah, so L just literally did chess him. Yeah, the mystery monsters are not to be trifled with. El's entire mystery deck is not to be trifled with. And basically, El basically has to find one of the staff and basically ask where the frick barrae's dorm room is. Basically, and the person just takes barrae and it's just I don't even know what this card is, but he had his hands on it and it looks like he was about to use it in that duel with you, so I'm not gonna confiscate it. Even though El sees that card that he was about to apparently use was the Reaper Dragon of Osiris. He was literally about to obliterate him into nothing. His next turn. So if he hadn't done that freaking super freaking insane maneuver on barrae's ass, he would have been obliterated. The possession was starting to take hold again, and it was taking hold so bad he was reaching for the card that would obliterate its ass. And Al's well, it's a good thing that doesn't really count for either of our lives, or else I'd be in real big trouble for being a murderer, just now fucking killing barrae. And so basically, Ash now just in the dorm room, basically seeing El come in and basically being two fingers up, signifying that basically he won the duel. He basically whispered to everybody before he left that he was going to duel barrae, to basically get a feel for what they were dealing with. Basically a descendant of the freaking Pharaoh of Darkness, Oro. Well, technically, that's only part of what they're dealing with, since Ash is apparently a descendant of the freaking, Pharaoh of Light, Ashmun. So, where is the descendant of Iris, the Pharaoh of Light? Not the Pharaoh of the Light, the Pharaoh of the Balance. Ashmun is the Pharaoh of the Light. So where's the descendant of Iris, the Pharaoh of the Balance? And who would they be? Well, we know that. It's a person named Yuruu. And basically, this person who earlier today, also whenever El wasn't in the dorm room, earlier today he was also not in the dorm room because he was looking for somebody to be like a name Kira, for someone who could be suspected to be Kira, and found someone who was 5% sure that he's Kira, and basically this person texts him and basically brings up a picture of him standing like his arm around this dude who looks like he's basically like off in his own world, looking at a certain card, and then basically a text saying, "You like that? You're gonna love this even more." And then basically another picture, basically the same thing, but the card that he's looking at specifically is turned around. And L freaks the fuck out. Because, well, basically in his mind he freaks out because he can't show it outwardly, or else people will freak out because, L isn't usually known for being expressive. Well, too expressive. The card that's shown is Exodia the Forbidden One. Yes, you heard me right. Exodia the Forbidden One. And neither is he really forbidden from being used in the tournament. So, yeah, free for grabs. So apparently this yuruu, this descendant of the Pharaoh of the Balance, Iris, has exodia. And basically Yugi seeing that is just like, Fafa? It's like, and Bakura's just like, Yugi never swears. So yeah, I think that's a good cliffhanger. Showing that this yuruu person, the descendant of Iris, the Pharaoh of the Balance, has exodia. And is also apparently duelist dorm mates with the person who, very earlier that day, L suspected, 5% chance that he's Kira. So, yeah. Deuces.